Today we're going to be installing the UTV incorporated heat shield on this 2011 Commander XT1000. UTV Incorporated has built and designed this heat shield to take care of a problem that we're having with excessive heat in the lower bed box. This is a prototype, and I'll be installing it for the first time on this Commander. And so let's take a look and see where it goes. As you can see, the heat shield is going to fit nicely right in the space covering the muffler. And it's going to set right in there. And it's going to install using these self-tapping screws. I'm just going to install it with my drill driver here. Now, one thing to note is you're going to see here that I've identified is that there is a wiring harness that's going to have to be relocated and moved below that frame piece in order to allow clearance for this heat shield to be installed. So I'm going to go ahead and install this, make sure it fits properly, get it all buttoned up, and then I'm going to start some testing with this. First I'm going to run the Commander without the heat shield installed, get some temperature measurements, then I'm going to install it and run it again and see how much it reduces the temperature in the lower bed box. So let's get started with the installation. Okay, as I mentioned, the first thing that we're going to have to take care of is relocating this wiring harness below this frame, and that's really simple to do. All I'm going to do is cut a couple of zip ties here. I'm going to unplug it and relocate it, routing it underneath the frame, and I'm going to re-zip tie it once I'm done doing that. Okay, as you can see, I've rerouted the wiring harness, tied it off with a couple of zip ties right there and up top, and it's just routed under the frame, and I've set my heat shield in place. Now there are 5 mounting holes that drill right into the frame, and we're just going to mount this up tight here, and we're going to start drilling all the way down until we get all 5 or all 10 of the self-tapping screws installed. And then I'm going to remove everything so I can begin the testing to see how much this actually affects the heat in the lower bed box. I've got the heat shield removed from the Commander, and now I'm ready to begin my testing. I want to make note that the outside temperature right now is about 52 degrees here, and I'm now measuring the temperature of a cold muffler, and we're right around about 80 degrees or so. I'll be using this to take all my measurements. If you come back here on this side, okay, I'll take a shot inside the bed box, and right now the inside the bed box is 53 degrees, and I've also got a secondary thermometer inside there, if you take a look, and that's just one that I've taped up there to measure, so I have some real accurate measurements on what the temperatures are going to be. So right now everything's cold. I'm going to go ahead and go out and run this for about 20 minutes, get it up to temperature, and come back and we'll take our measurements, and then I'll install the heat shield and see if it makes any difference. I just finished my run, and I'm measuring the temperature of the muffler here, and we're at about 275. It's cooling down a little bit. I had 5 bars on my display panel there, and so the muffler's nice and hot. But right now I think the temperature that we're having outside is too cool, because if we measure inside the box, it has gone up a little bit, but let me get this on Fahrenheit, but we're only at about 80, well, anywhere from about 90 there. There's about 95 is about the hottest spot in that box right now. So it's not very hot in there. It's even not hot enough to measure on my thermometer that starts off at 100 degrees. But we're going to go ahead and install the heat shield and see if we get a drop in temperature of the box here from that 95 degrees that we just indicated. So we'll go ahead and install that. I'm going to run again, and we'll see where we're at. Alright, I just got back from my second run. Get the thing installed. There we go. Got about a 90. So 105 flash there for a second. 98. As soon as I open that up, there we go. It's 104, 105 in here. There we go. 105 degrees right there. So there's really no change in temperature of the box. Let's see what this is doing here. Okay, this is again 200, well over 200 here, 275, depending on where I aim it exactly. It's going to depend on what that does. But let's take a look back here on the heat shield itself and see if it's deflecting any. See how hot this is getting. Okay, there we go. And right here on the heat shield, I'm getting about, I saw flashes of 120. So the heat shield is heating up, but I'm not getting a whole lot of change in temperature in the box. Just depends on exactly where I aim this. So the temperature in the box isn't dropping because I don't think it's hot enough outside to really get a good indication on this testing because it's such a cool day out. I think this testing will go a lot better if we check it when the weather is above 75 degrees, which right now it's not predicted to be any hotter than 61 today. So I'll try this testing again at a later date when we've got more conclusive evidence that the heat shield is working and doing what it's supposed to be doing.